I want to bring in Kate Hardcastle and turn our attention to page one of the business section in the Telegraph. And we were talking about this on the programme yesterday as the huge impact on the Russian economy of all of the sanctions, but a lot of British businesses are pulling out now as well.
So there's many stories across the papers this morning, and as I said earlier, this absolutely doesn't take away from the civilians and the real life story of this, but business is business, and it is a huge financial impact for so many elements, and so many stories talking about the businesses that just have to cease trading, that don't know if they're going to get paid, don't feel like that's the right thing to do anymore from the PR industry, big businesses that just aren't compatible with how they want to proceed with their Russian entities, so JCB, Burberry, ASOS all pulling out. They're joining Mercedes-Benz, ExxonMobil, Apple. And then we've also got organisations beyond that, I think, that are doing above and beyond. You know, organisations like Airbnb who have offered free rooms for people. And I think there's the organisations that are seeing that actually they have power to make change. So there's a huge set of news stories coming from the business industry. I mean, also we've got to think about the financial element. We have to understand, you know, a huge piece in the FT today talking about that Russian investment that came in when US started to turn up some of the challenges, some of the sanctions to that Russian investment. It did come into the UK. They've put a worth of £300 billion on that. And then how that now has started to affect what they've called the Kremlin gremlins, but the markets in terms of that investment, and then how it reflects in terms of the world stage. So it's complex. It's really interesting for someone in business. I was in a big business meeting last night with a lot of huge experts in different industries talking about what's the right thing to do. What they know first and foremost is absolutely they have to make themselves be heard. They have to be accountable to their stakeholders and their consumers. And most of all, I think, Isabel, is they have to do the right thing.
Yeah. Well,
you keep saying do the right thing. That's very interesting. And in this woke world, where these big corporations are ruled by wokeness, they wet their pants literally if someone says anything unwoke about them or accuses them of anything on social media. It sends out a big message. I'm surprised they're all not out. For instance, Marks & Spencer's, 24 stores in Moscow. What a statement that would be, not just in terms of trading, but that not open for business, closed, the doors taped up. What would that say to Russian people?
All I will say is, and I know there's a lot of stories to cover this morning, when COVID hit, the lockdowns, the pandemic, a seabed of issues came to the forefront for business. Diversity and inclusion, environment, ethical, stakeholder engagement, a lot of things they are dealing with that are from generations before. You call it woke, I call it doing the right thing. The fact of the matter is, it will always be governed by cash, and consumers are now wanting more from the businesses they invest with. So you can call it just commercial, actually. If consumers call for action, that's what they want.
Too many of them have this, oh, we're so good and we're so woke and we're so wonderful about things. But it's about the buck at the end of the day. It's about their bottom lines. People aren't blind. People see it in adverts. People aren't stupid what way they're being fed, the messages that they're being fed. And that these big companies, they rule television companies, they rule the advertising in newspapers. They decide what goes on, and it is their world. I will call it woke.
Consumers want a better deal. They watch all those COP26 adverts in October about environmental practices. If that isn't delivered with authenticity the month after, they're not going to stand for it anymore. They're not going to go, OK, yes, we believe all that. They're going to challenge back. And that's the world that business is in now. And I agree with you. I think the reason we're getting reactions so quickly, we've seen those flags so quickly, is because they know the pressure is on.
And as you say, you started by saying, you know, this doesn't take away from the civilians and the human tragedies that we're seeing. A lot of people feeling helpless and that they can't, and frustrated in many ways that we aren't doing more to stop the Russian invasion. And I suppose this is the small way in which, you know, people can make a difference is through businesses and through doing the right thing.
Are truly good businesses. There are some good business leaders out there.